Hey, what up once again, Mr. TV? I thought I posted something about this, or I know I made a video about it, and it didn't show up on Facebook. So anyways, I wanted to post it again just because it was important to me, because it's something that I followed for years. Now, I remember asking, in fact, I've asked almost everyone that I know about this, and everyone that I've asked doesn't seem to be able to, they kind of know what I'm talking about, but they don't see it directly as I see it, or have been seeing it. And now, this is just in the last couple of weeks, I've seen that just in the last couple of weeks, some theologians and religious figures, I'm not religious, I'm a spiritual guy, but clearly there are very much religious ties going on with everything. Now, on one level, if I have enough time to explain really quickly, cutting a lot of corners, last November, I had been given sort of a heads up that I was going to be going through another large awakening and that I would not be alone. That this was going to be some mass awakening that was going to help bring up the next people that were now waking up. In late November, I had a very bizarre experience. I was right here where we are now, and kind of was in what I would call a very intense daydreaming state. I wouldn't call it a trance because that's too weird of a statement, but I was at a meeting, I was talking with these people, and they were talking about, they were revealing things to me that were so astounding. They even gave me terminology for how I was feeling. One of them was information saturation, which was that because the human brain, let's say, we think we're so smart, is only like a Dixie cup of water. That what I was about to find out didn't matter what the information was, it was the immense amount of it on my mind. It was like a gallon of water being poured into a Dixie cup. That's exactly how it felt. So I couldn't cope, because what I had just found out was such a game changer. The first thing I thought was, and people are complaining that the government isn't telling them, no one is ready for this. And then they laid out certain scenarios and lined up certain dots to show how some of us are even connected, family members, you know. And I don't just mean soul family, but just in many different ways, like the way the world is. And this did not detour necessarily from any belief in a God or anything like that. In fact, on the contrary, this was this David Wilcock individual. I had never really known him, anything about him before, except I'd heard of him. I became very kind of close with him that one weekend, where a lot of things were explained to me through him, and I liked his style of explaining things to me. I thought everyone had gotten this information. This always happens to me. So I'm posting about it all over Facebook. Then I'm thinking something's wrong, and I know Cindy Cook, for example, and me discussed this. I told her that they had told me I could be a teller, which means you're the one they want me to tell people about this. Then when I realized no one else knew what I was talking about, even though I seem like I'm a loudmouth, I backed out and didn't say anything. I get nervous about that these days. Some of the things I'm finding out now, Mr. Don, I will tell anybody anything, unless I am positive 100%. I'm nervous to tell people. I mean, it's too real to. I wouldn't joke around about it, and it's not something that I would risk telling people if there's a threat or any idea that they shouldn't know. And usually there's no such rule. But it had more to do with a disclosure of the truth about alien life. Now, we always knew that was coming. And the interesting part is most of these characters typically were not anti-religion or atheists, but they've now incorporated into their theory a very pronounced amount of things like Jesus Christ, like Allah, and religious figures like that. I don't know this for any fact, but I'm just saying the way I had overheard these conversations was indicative to when people say, you know, for all we know, Jesus was an alien. You know, he may have looked human, but well, that's fine. That could be going on with all of us, and apparently it is. And that's something at a very young age I knew. And I knew immediately that there was something going on with our generation. In fact, to prove it, you can look on my website on Facebook, Depression ICR. Now, depression was based off of trying to be contradictory to all these like surf punk, skate, porn star magazine, t-shirt companies that I was doing marketing for. And my idea was that depression creates creativity and abilities. Although I didn't have any abilities at the time, I believe that you could become very creative and you could have insights other people could not have. At that time, that was still a new idea. Celebrities were not yet checking themselves into rehab all the time to look cool for the next movie. My first logo I trademarked and own is actually the actual Unabomber logo. It says depression, and the service mark was Generation X Prophets. And the reason I put Generation X Prophets was my belief at the time that even though we were nobodies at that time, I was going to write a book called Latent Power, which was I believed or saw something, and why I would think this at the age of 18, I don't know. That we were going to not just be some ABC News special making a big difference in the world, in the economy, but there was something very different about us, very different about us. And I've always held that belief, and I've held it throughout the years during my awakening. In my initial days of my big awakening spiritually, it came about quite a bit, and it came more or less as a confirmation, not any new information. In the meantime, I've been going about my whole thing, whatever. UFOs, aliens, demons, angels, light workers, planets are going to hit each other, planet elements come, there's tidal waves coming. We juggle all that crap every day. All right, so all those things are going on. As you know, in the last month, all of us who are empathic or are going through spiritual experiences have been feeling it, and feeling it physically very intensely. And it seems to be universal. It seems to be some people are sick in the stomach, some people stuck in the back. I've been with friends who didn't even know I was going through this, and I've seen it happen to them. As if they're afflicted by something, they have to leave immediately. It's exactly what I was going through. Things are getting better. And I was given the date of May 26th for that to improve. So hopefully that'll get better as of May 26th. But in the meantime, I wasn't sure exactly what to tell people regarding some of the other information I was getting. I didn't see any big improvement in anything else except we weren't going to be getting sick anymore. But what they do have, and they mention in one of these speeches, is what they call pushback, spiritual pushback, which means that just like in yin and yang, we had been going through such a negative period, and there's been so much pain, stress, and for me it's been anxiety. I mean, I'm anxious all the time. I mean, I could be having a massage in a hot tub and be anxious as hell. That there will be a positive outflow of that. Something that's been brought up recently seems to indicate to me that I may know what that might be. Regardless, you have to join in me telling you that the Depression Generation X Prophet thing, I've written papers on it, I've written books on it, sci-fi ideas, even maps where I thought, like much like the Occupy movement, like if things like that were to ever go down, we were going to be the ones that were going to be not the saviors of the world, but yeah, basically a superhero type concept. I have never, ever seen anything like that specifically mentioned. I have tried to find in the Bible, in the Quran, where it mentions that. The best I could find was that the modern day Israel, the children of Israel are in America. The children Israel. Just like they say Babylon is New York and all that. And then, yesterday, what do you know, pure intuition, got into YouTube, which I don't like looking at much anymore because I think most of the time it's lies. You can't trust anything. And I saw a couple videos and heard a couple guys. They were both preachers. Amazing how they start bringing in now. Every religion's great now. You're not hearing people bash other religions now, at least coming from the religious standpoint, maybe the government standpoint. Combined with this, I believe what they are saying, or whatever they found out when they found out, if our enemies are still out there, and I think they are, found out at the same time, and that had a lot to do with these attacks that we're getting. In other words, we've been exposed. And whoever we all are, I know some of you know who you are because we talked about it privately a long time ago. You know that it's not just about being a spirit in a human body.